You are Locked On Marlins POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Miami on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, Fish fans? Welcome to your Locked On Marlins POSTCAST. My name is Jim Grieshaber. Call me Grease, and I am here every day. After every Marlins game, you know what it is, and we are proud and happy to say that we are here every single day, free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And, of course, we want to thank you for making us your first listen every day. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As playoffs wind down, the sports stop sporting like we want them to, but this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right, there's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started, just like we're doing here on the show. Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease, at @JimGrease_ on social media. We'll see right up there behind me. That's actually a couple days ago on the TV behind me. We got to change that out. But the Marlins lose today to the Astros 4-3. You see it up on the screen there, as Alex Bregman's game-winning home run in the bottom of the seventh inning gets the job done. It was 4-2 after the homer, and the Marlins would add a solo homer from Jesus Sanchez. That was after Sanchez homer, excuse me. It was an RBI single from Bryan De La Cruz that they added. Jazz Chisholm led off the first inning with a homer for Miami, 1-0 lead for the Marlins, solo shot, and a solo shot also for Sanchez in the seventh, and then the DLC RBI single. But the Astros were a little bit too much for the Marlins today, and it's just a tough loss all the way across the board. 4-3 the score. Bregman with the game-running home run, no doubter. What is it about those homers hitting Minute Maid Park, man? It's a launching pad. It must be the proximity to the NASA headquarters or something. It's just, you hit a home run there, it's literally a launching pad, man, and that place just bomb after bomb after bomb over the years, right? All the history with the Astros, with Jeff Bagwell and Craig Biggio and all those guys, and Roger Clemens and Andy Pettitte on those World Series teams for the Astros. The Stros competitive for sure over the years, and then this recent run with the cheating. We have to throw that out there. We have to let the Astros know we're not letting them get away with all that. E is for Edwards. It was Xavier Edwards with an error. E6, routine ground ball to shortstop. Routine ground ball to shortstop in the seventh inning with one away. Bad throw. Pulls him wide off the bag. Give him an extra out. And then, of course, what happens? With 2 outs, they hit the home run. You can't give major league teams extra outs, and we talk about this all the time on the show. You can't give major league teams extra outs. And a guy like Bregman coming up, you just know he's going to make you pay. And Bregman was the one who, unfortunately was the victim tonight. Ronel Blanco was amazing. More on him in a minute. Jazz 2 for 4 with the home run, stolen base, DLC 2 for 3 with the rib. That's a beautiful shot right there. Beautiful shot of Jazz Chisholm Jr. You should get in on that now. He's not going to be here. Which Marlins do you think will be traded at the deadline? That's what I'm wondering. Which Marlins do you think will be? Jazz Chisholm Jr. is probably the best bet. Everyday players, Jazz Chisholm Jr., right? DLC, Dane Myers. Love Dane Myers. A lot of people love Dane Myers too. But Dane Myers is a guy who might not be here long, but he hasn't played really enough. Hasn't played enough to be a huge target for teams. Tanner Scott made the All-Star team, Marlins only All-Star. He's clearly a guy who a lot of teams would want. Weathers was just moved to the 60-day IL. Luzardo's on the 30-day IL. Those guys were pitching great in the rotation. So teams wanted them, but with them on the injured list, a bad break too. With Luzardo, definitely would have been traded. Probably still will be. Very, very team-friendly contract. No arbitration eligibility for a couple of years. The lefty knows how to get outs, wily, tough competitor, inning eater. Weathers is too. He's got the finger issue, though, the strained finger. And he was working out with the team, and you're thinking he might be coming back any day, and then all of a sudden they transfer him to the 60-day IL. It's the injured list now. It's not the DL. We can't call it the disabled list anymore because I'm guessing that disabled is now not a correct term. But the point is he's on the IL for 60 days. And that's a bad break. For Miami, you've had Alcantara out all year. He's your ace. Weathers, Luzardo, Cabrera just came back. He's your guy who had 10 strikeouts in his first start. You're looking at Alcantara, and you're looking at Cabrera, Weathers, Luzardo. None of the rest of these guys were even going to be in the rotation. The bullpen's been yeoman-like with the work they've done. Unbelievable. Scott's the all-star, but Puck and Brazoban and Bender and Chargois. I love saying his name. And Chargois. Am I missing anybody? Cronin, Declan Cronin. These guys have been phenomenal. Really good for the Marlins this year. Now look at De La Cruz going back to Houston, former Astro. Let's see. Ronel Blanco had retired 17 Marlins in a row at one point. 17 in a row. Your big league hitters. 17 in a row from the first inning on. After Jazz hit the homer and DLC single. DLC, shout out to him, 2 for 3 with the RBI. Bregman with the homer. The Marlins did not. How bad was their offense again today? And we go day in and day out. I could sit here on my soapbox and rip this team's offense forever. What good would it do? What good would it do? I mean, really, we talk all the time. They don't have that major, big-time hitter in the middle of the lineup. They don't have that big gun. They don't have the huge all-star. They don't have any all-stars in the lineup or the rotation, for that matter. Their first at-bat with a runner in scoring position came in the 8th inning. The 8th inning. The 8th inning. 23, 24 outs into the game is when they had their first runner in scoring position. It's not going to win you many games. It's not going to win you many games. You know, in the 9th inning, Edwards, of course, when it rains, it pours, and when you're not doing well, when the bad luck happens, hits a bullet toward first base. John Singleton, not that John Singleton. John Singleton with the diving play. Maybe saved a run. More than likely would have been first and third. Would have been first and third with one away. Astros. How about the Astros? 9 games over 500 when Ronel Blanco starts. 6 games under 500 when he doesn't. And he's not on the All-Star team. How is Ronel Blanco not on the All-Star team? We got to look and see who is. That's what we're getting into now. And, of course, the people in Houston are really having a hard time with Hurricane Beryl. Came barreling in, B-E-R-Y-L. So all our friends in Houston. By the way, we here in Miami, we know a thing or two about hurricanes, right? South Florida. So for years, I remember being a radio guy and being on during some of the, like, Wilma. And believe it or not, what was the big one in New Orleans? Katrina hit us, too, in South Florida that year. There have been some big ones. Andrew in 92. I wasn't quite in South Florida yet. I went to the U, shout out University of Miami, starting in the early 90s, but wasn't quite there in 92. But over the years, I've lived through my fair share. I've been on the radio for hours helping guide people through them. I know what the people of Houston are going through right now, so if you're in Houston and you're watching us, shout out to you. You're going to be all right. Just kind of stay calm, stay inside. Don't go out unless you have to, especially in the dark. Make sure that you have enough to eat, but you don't want to get too crazy with that. And the most important thing, other than staying inside, is just staying calm and realizing that, like every storm in life, this too shall pass. So that's my best advice to those of you in Houston. Let me see, All-Star rosters. We're going to go through the roster a little bit here of the All-Star team. Pitchers, reserves. It's just Tanner Scott for the Marlins. But I have to see who in the world in the National League, how many pitchers are better than Ronel Blanco. I mean, this is a little bit crazy right now. Where are we at here? Where are we at? National League. Ohtani's a designated hitter. All right, where are we at in the National League? Here we go. National League. All right, Glasnow, Hunter Green, Helsley, Hoffman, Lopez, Imanaga, Soleil, Tanner Scott, Skenis, Paul Skenis. Everybody wants to see him, the fireballer from Pittsburgh. Matt Strom, Ranger Suarez, Robert Suarez, Logan Webb, Zach Wheeler from Philadelphia. Suarez, how many did the Phillies get? Hoffman, they didn't get, they didn't get Christopher Sanchez from Philly. Huh. They didn't get Nola either. All right. Who made it from Houston on the pitching staff? Nobody? Dodgers? Who did the Dodgers get? Glasnow. First selection. Logan Webb. Yeah, man, it's tough. Tough, man, to think about Ronel Blanco not being on the All-Star team. Almost absurd. Almost absurd. It's borderline. It's borderline. You're watching your Locked On Marlins postcast. My name is Jim Grieshaber. Call me Grease. At @JimGrease_ is the social media. The Marlins drop a tough one tonight, 4-3 to the Astros in Houston. When we come back, we're going to take a quick peek at how the scoring happened, the box score, stars of the game for both teams. And then, of course, later in the show, you know how we do. We're going to get you ready for Game 2 of the series. Heading toward, and the clock keeps moving, tick, 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 toward the All-Star break. You got the Astros, you got the Reds. After Sunday, it's 4 days off. Then you got the Friday. You got no job. You got to do. You know what I'm saying? But you do have the All-Star break coming up. What are you going to do with all those times that you have to create memories without baseball games on? We'll help you out there, too. It's Locked On Marlins postcast. It's Grease. Hang out. I love sports. You guys know this, right? I love them so much, I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wound down and the games and the clock's ticking, tick, 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 tick. No, the NBA Finals are over. No, the Stanley Cup Finals. Shout out Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. But the sports are gone. What are we going to do? It's a while till football. The sports aren't sportsing like I want them to. But never fear, FanDuel is here. That's right, FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do, open the app, dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. This summer, FanDuel, hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right, there's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head on over to FanDuel, just like I do, and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel.com for FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Locked On Marlins postcast, Jim Grieshaber. Call me Grease. Tonight's episode powered by, brought to you by, presented by FanDuel. Man, I'm excited too. I want to thank you yet again for making Locked On Marlins postcast part of your routine. Every single day, we're free wherever you get your podcast, and you know what that means. Whether you're listening to us right now on Spotify, whether it's Stitcher, whether it's Podbean, whether it's Apple Music, whether it's iHeart, you name it, we are here. And of course, YouTube, Locked On Sports Miami, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. And your team's the Marlins. It's been a long summer. Obviously, this team right now is, pardon me, that was close. I've burped on the air before. You almost got me. Sometimes they just pop out, and that was close. 32-59, 14-28 on the road. The Astros, man, they've won 7 in a row at home. They're 47-44, 25-19 at the juicer. This team was headed for disaster for a long time. They've been righting the ship. Cheaters, not cheaters, whatever you want to think of them in their past and all the stuff that they had going on there, man. The Astros are balling out right now, and you got to give them credit for the way that they're playing. And we're going to take a look at what happened here tonight, a little bit more with the game as we let you know what happened as the Marlins look at. I mean, they had a shot in this game. They took the lead early, you know what I mean, on that home run by Jazz Chisholm Jr. in the top of the first inning. 375 feet. It was a wall scraper, but it doesn't matter. A home run's a home run, right? Four-seam fastball. When your four-seamer's 89 miles an hour and then you're throwing a changeup 83, you have supreme command. You have supreme confidence. You're moving the ball around. You're locating it. I remember my son Jake when he was pitching in travel baseball. Shout out to my boy Jake Grieshaber. When he was young, he could really play ball. Yeah, he was a pitcher and a catcher, right? But at 10 years old, he was playing travel ball with 11 and 12-year teams that were undefeated, and these teams were championship teams. My son's on the team. I'm coaching, and he's the best pitcher we have. Why? Because I taught my son, as every kid came in at 12 years old, throwing gas too at 12. You're surprised how fast they throw at 12. But my son beat Luis and Rex Gonzalez teams, T-Rex. Shout out to Luis and Rex, big club baseball team in Arizona at the time. But this is years ago. My son Jake, at 10 years old, every kid who's 12 is throwing dots, just bang, throwing hard. You hear that glove pop, right? But every pitcher's throwing the same, so the hitters can do what? They can time them. The human body's about what? Reflexes. And what happens when you reflex? I don't care how hard you throw. Ask Aroldis Chapman when Altuve hit a home run on a 104-mile-an-hour pitch. The human body gets used to the timing, and the reflexes get down. When everything's the same speed all the time, I don't care who you are, you're going to get ripped. That's why pitchers mix it up. You're throwing different pitches. In, out, up, down. Changing speeds. Pulling the string. Sinkers, slider, changeups, curveballs, whatever. And I taught my son up, down, in, out. Change speeds. Grip it with 3 fingers. Grip it with 2 fingers. Grip it with all your fingers. Changes just slightly. And you keep the hitters, and man, Ronel Blanco is a master at that. He is a master at that at the highest of levels. He's Picasso out there with that. Different fingers on the ball, different placements, pulling the string without killing your arm. You don't have to snap your arm and put that torque on the ball. You change your fingers, number of fingers, finger location. That's how you do it. Play the guitar on the MTV. You know what I'm saying? So Jazz Chisholm's homer in the first inning, and then De La Cruz with a single. So the homer and the single, the first 2 batters of the game get hits. Little did we know he would retire 17 in a row after those 2 because Josh Bell grounds into a fielder's choice. De La Cruz out at second. Sanchez flies to right, and Berger strikes out. What else does Berger do? Let's be real. He strikes out 90% of the time or so it seems. Sorry, Jake, but dude, come on. I mean, it's the major leagues. He did hit that homer the other day, but he struck out like 9 times before it. Anyway, Astros didn't score until the bottom of the second inning. And that was McCormick singling in Myers. So it's 1-1 there. Astros did not take the lead until the 5th inning when Bregman, there he is again, that man, 3 RBIs on the day, singled in McCormick, who was in the middle of it yet again. So it's 2-1. Stros, and what happens for the Miami Marlins? In the top of the 7th inning, Ronel Blanco is cruising. Nobody's touching him. His streak of 17 in a row had been ended just previous to that. And guess what happens? The first man to the plate in the top of the 7th inning is Jesus Sanchez. And what does Jesus do? He goes deep. Home run, 344 feet to left center field, and it's 2-2 the score. New life. You're on the road, 2-2 the score against the Houston Astros. And what happens in the bottom of the 7th inning with Bregman on the mound? Dubon strikes out swinging. McCormick. Here's that man again. Already had an RBI and a run scored. What does he do here? Routine ground ball to shortstop. Xavier Edwards. Easy play. Shuffle the feet, throw it over to first, and oh my God, he pulls him off the bag. Are you kidding me? As routine of a play as a routine play could be, and he flubs it. Altuve lines to right on a bullet. 2 down. Bregman, boom, 370-foot homer. Scores McCormick. 4-2 Houston. Turn out the lights, the party's over. Houston, we are the problem for Miami. Marlins top of the 8th. Give him credit. Brujan strikes out. Looking. Fortes flies out to center. Here comes Jazz again. Singles. Steals second. Jazz Chisholm's the man. He's not going to be here long. Enjoy him while you can. He's going to be traded. Here comes DLC. Probably also going to be traded. Singles to left. Chisholm scores 4-3. Bell grounds out to first. Bottom 8th for Houston. Bender. 3 in a row. 3 up, 3 down. Marlins top of the 9th. Hader pitching for Houston. Myers strikes out swinging. Berger draws the walk. Edwards, fielder's choice. Berger out at second. Edwards is on at first. Rivera hits for Gordon. And Rivera strikes out swinging. Game over. Marlins lose. The Marlins lose. Alex Bregman, RBI single, and that bomb of a home run. How many times do you see it? You cannot give teams extra outs in the major leagues. You can't do it. You can't give them extra outs. You can hardly get them out now as it is when they get 3 outs an inning. You can't give them extra outs, can't give them extra strikes. Things like errors, wild pitches, getting caught in rundowns, running yourself into outs. The Marlins have done that plenty of times. These things all add up. You know what they add up to? 32 and 59. That's what they add up to. They add up to the second worst record in Major League Baseball. They add up to a vastly and drastically underachieving team that had high expectations, had to have high hopes coming into the season because they made the playoffs a year ago. But Alcantara gets hurt. All the injuries to the rotation, they don't matter. A 9-game losing streak to start the year. A 9 spot. You let the league hang a 9 spot on you to start the year. A 6-game losing streak on top of that, and 3 5-gamers It is embarrassingly awful to lose 5 games in a row in Major League Baseball. They've done it 3 times. They've lost 6 in a row. To lose 9 games in a row is so atrocious, I can barely let those words leave my lips without just vomiting all over this mic. And you don't want to see that. So, yeah, it's frustrating. But then on the flip, look at these guys day in and day out. They play hard, man. They play with passion. They play with pride. They play with enthusiasm. They play with love of the game. They play for each other. They have fun for the fans. They should. We should watch athletes having fun. Losing games doesn't mean you shouldn't be smiling when you're playing. Do you want to watch a bunch of grumpy, surly players? I remember the Yankees in the late 90s covering them in spring training and watching them during the season, covering the 99 Yankees out at the stadium all the time in New York, every night that year. That was the most surly, grumpiest team. Jeter, boring. Mariano never said a word. Clemens, angry, nasty, didn't want to talk to anyone. Pettit, quiet. Bernie, quiet. The most boring team you could ever possibly imagine. Never said a word. This team's not like that. They're fun. You're going to be that boring, you better win. And that team kicked ass, one of the best teams in baseball. But the Marlins have fun. They're singing, they're dancing, ha-ha. Maybe ownership doesn't like that, but the fans should. You're not paying them. You're spending a little bit of cash to go out to the ballpark, but you're seeing Major League Baseball. You're seeing the Phillies, the Mets, the Nats, and all these other teams coming in, but you're seeing the development of your players, and you're seeing the fun every single day with this team. You're watching your Locked On Marlins postcast. My name is Jim Grieshaber. Call me Grease. One more segment to go. We'll look ahead to tomorrow. Tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow, you're only a day away. Who is that? Which version? Just a day away. Terrible. No one's going to get that. Lou Rawls. If anyone got Lou Rawls from that, I will personally send you whatever you want if you got Lou Rawls from that. Anyway, I got Lou Rawls from that. That's all that matters. And the Marlins lost 4-3 to the Astros. Tough one on the road, though. I mean, they kept scratching, kept clawing. They never quit. They never give up. You got to love it about this team. Looking at tomorrow's matchup on the other side, I believe there's a song called Tomorrow. Did I not just do this? We'll be right back. It's Jim Grieshaber, Call Me Grease, Locked On Marlins postcast, right here, Locked On Podcast Network. So you gotta hang on till tomorrow. Why? Because Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Today, tomorrow, the next day, next week, next month, next year, it isn't going to matter. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in with Prize Picks. Get in on the daily action with your friends. Wipe the floor with them. Become part of the Prize Picks community today. Why? You can now win up to 100 times your money. Are you kidding me? On Prize Picks, with as little as 4 correct picks, you can turn $10 into 1,000. I'm on it right now. Forget it. It's mine. Don't even try. If you're looking for promotions, Prize Picks has you covered every week. From lowering select player stats projections on Tuesdays to help your lineup hit, or getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. Imagine that. I want my money back because I lost. Okay, who does that? Prize Picks. That is who. I love Prize Picks. It's available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Oh, Georgia. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy with Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Uh-oh. And there we go. I don't know if I knocked myself off the air there. I got so excited. You know why? You know why? Because here at Locked On Marlins postcast, I tell you this every day. I mean, if you're new, I'll just let you come a little bit closer. We pride ourselves on getting you the latest news for your team, the Marlins, whether it's the offseason, the draft, spring training, the playoffs. It doesn't matter. It's year-round. You know what else is year-round? Collection season. Just because tax season is over doesn't mean the IRS will stop coming after you for unfiled taxes. The IRS can garnish your wages. The IRS can levy your bank accounts. The IRS can even seize your property. There's no such thing as your property. It's all a fallacy. Read my book. It's on the way. Don't let the IRS target you. Let the licensed professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA go to bat for you. With over 14 years of experience and an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau, Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt. Whether you owe taxes, whether you have complicated matters that require tax planning, or whether you finally hit that parlay, baby, and you need help to hide your money from the IRS. I'm just kidding. To correctly file, call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/lockedon. 1-800-549-1000, tnusa.com/lockedon. Mention Locked On Marlins Postcast, and guess what they're going to do for you at checkout? They're going to give you $250 off their services at Tax Network USA. The sun will come out tomorrow, so you gotta hang on till tomorrow. We keep saying that, right? A 9-game losing streak, a 6-gamer, 3 5-gamers. Come what may. What are you gonna do? What keeps coming are losing streaks for the Marlins. And you know, you love the way they play. I say it every day, right? Only one team can win the World Series. Only 2 teams can get there. Only one team can win the division. Phillies, maybe the Braves. Not the Braves, it's going to be the Phillies. Anyway, very few teams can make the playoffs. Last year, the Marlins gave you a nice run. When you're a team like the Marlins in a market like this, or in a market like Arizona with the Diamondbacks, or in a market like a Cincinnati, or you know what I mean? Markets like this. Once every 3 years, you got to be ecstatic your team makes the playoffs once every 3 years. You can't afford to miss on anybody when your payroll's this low. You can't afford to have Alcantara out for the year the first week of the season. You can't afford to have Weathers and Luzardo on the 60-day and the 30-day as they're winning games for you. You can't afford to have 11 guys coming through your starting pitching rotation throughout the season. You can't afford it. You can't. You can't afford to be calling guys up from AAA every single day. There's a new guy being added to the roster and another one being sent down. Musical pitchers. You can't do it. Just like you can't live any longer without making Locked On Sports Today a part of your day every day. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. It's Locked On Sports Today, here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering almost every league. Find Locked On Sports Today, now available on the free Fire TV channels app. All right, once again, 4-3, the Stros with the win over the Marlins in Houston tonight, and just a tough one for Miami all the way across the board. Ronel Blanco, how in the world does he not make the All-Star team? 7 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk. He's 9-3. They're 9 games over 500 in games he pitches. They're 6 games under 500 in games he doesn't. And he does not make the All-Star team. Someone please explain to me how this happens. I love it when the Astros get their medicine, don't get me wrong, but he didn't do anything. He's not a cheater. Ronel Blanco doesn't make the All-Star team. He had a huge game today. Obviously, Brazoban got the loss for the Marlins. Not his fault. 2 unearned runs on the E for Edwards. You see that on the rundown there. Easy play. Scoop it right up. Routine throw. Pulls him off the bag. Give him an extra out. Leads to Bregman's 2-run homer. His 2nd and 3rd RBIs of the game. At that point, it was pretty much a wrap. The Marlins can't score 2 runs in 4 games sometimes, let alone in 2 innings. Hader got the save. Don't be a hater, bro. His 15th. Be a hater. 15 saves. Anyway, he's ridiculous. 2 strikeouts for Hader. Chisholm 2 for 4 with a run scored, RBI, or 2 runs scored, and a stolen base. DLC 2 for 3 with an RBI. Sanchez 1 for 3 with a homer. That is it for Miami. Berger had a hit. Wait, what? Yeah. Berger got a hit. Bregman, 2 for 4, 3 RBIs, including the homer, had the run scored as well. Alvarez struck out 3 times, their number 3 hitter. They had a good night against him. Nobody else did anything for Houston. 2 runs scored for McCormick and an RBI, the number 9 hitter to the right fielder. Marlins have had a lot of trouble against the 7, 8, 9 hitters in lineups lately. Rogers, 5 1/3, 6 hits, 2 runs, both earned, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks for Miami. Brazoban really deserved better. He would have been out of that inning. Got the loss hung on him to go to 1-2. Had the 2 runs unearned. 1 hit. It was the homer. Inning in the third, but he would have been out of the inning. On top of that, Puck went a third of an inning. Bender went an inning. These guys have been dope. Still dealing out of the pen for Miami. Just pitching great. Dealing for the Marlins. And it's a shame because they should be rewarded a lot more than they are by this team. But they can hit. They just can't hit. And you see it on the rundown there. Jazz and DLC, and that's it. Sanchez had a solo shot. That's it. Bregman, big game for Houston. Ronel Blanco, big story in the game tonight. 17 in a row retired by him at one point. Pulling strings on the four-seamer and the cutter. I mean, he's only throwing 86, 87 on the fastball. 83 on the changeup. Not much of a discrepancy there. But he just continually wears you out. Just getting guys out over and over and over again. And when Jazz hit that homer to lead off the game and then DLC with the hit, you're thinking, wow, they're going to rip this guy. Right after that, 17 in a row. And it's just been that kind of year for Miami. Close, but not quite. 4-3, entertaining in the game. DLC with the single. Literally cuts it to 4-3. And you're thinking at that point, okay, they had the tying run on base in the ninth. It isn't like they're getting smoked off the field day in and day out. There's a lot of entertaining baseball being played. A lot of entertaining baseball. And we got to get out of here noticing the time. We got game 2 of this series coming up tomorrow, same time, same channel right here. It'll be 8:10 Eastern. Brian Hoying making his second start for the Fish, 0-1, ERA just a little bit under 2. And Framber Valdez for Houston, 7-5 with a 3.84 and a 1.3 whip. That is the second game of the series, game 3. On Thursday will be Roderick Munoz, 1-3 with a 5.48 against undecided for Houston. So we will be here right after both of those games. Again, 8:10 Eastern start time. So figure around 10:30. These games have been going fast. The average game time is 2.5 hours with all the rules changes. The average Marlins game time is about 2, a little bit under 2. Why? Because they can't hit. They strike out a ton. They swing at the first pitch all night long. And they make it very easy on the opposing team's starting pitcher, as they did for Ronel Blanco tonight. That's all there is, Fish fans. There is no more. Your Locked On Marlins postcast on your Tuesday. Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease. The series opener in Houston does not go the way the Marlins had hoped it would, as they lose 4-3 in a tough one as they run up against Ronel Blanco. Brazoban gets the loss. Hader gets the save, and they lose the opener. Tomorrow, again, Hoying gets the chance to get the Marlins back on track. Maybe the offense can get going, and we really hope to see you back here tomorrow. The Everydayers, we love you, and we want to thank you very much for making Locked On Marlins postcast a part of your day. Look at me. I'm doing the Smithers from The Simpsons. Look at Smithers. The Marlins lose 4-3. I mean, come on. I'm staring at a camera for a half hour straight every day. Just being me. Things are going to come out. But you love the Devin Hester jersey, don't you? All about the U. One of the most game-breaking electric performers in the history of the University of Miami. We'll have the Canes postcast coming up in the fall. The Dolphins as well. The Heat after that. Oh, I don't know why I keep going like this, but I'm just having a great time day in and day out with you with your Locked On Marlins postcast. Thank you so much for being here, Fish fans. Keep your game tight and your mind right. We are out.